Your period is trying to tell you something. Are you listening? Your period is more than just that time of the month. Let's be honest. Most of us were taught to think of our period as an inconvenience, something to deal with, hide, or push through. But what if your period is actually one of the most powerful health signals your body gives you every single month? Your cycle isn't random. It's not meaningless. It's communication. The timing, the flow, the pain, even the emotional shifts. They're all part of a bigger picture. Your body is constantly sending you updates, quietly telling you how things are going on the inside. And here's the thing, small changes can be completely normal. But patterns? Patterns are where the real story lives. So instead of brushing it off or powering through, what if you started listening? Because once you understand what your period is trying to tell you, you stop guessing and start feeling more in control of your own body. What a normal period can look like. One of the most confusing things about periods is this idea of normal. You might have asked yourself, is this normal? Should it look like this? Should it feel like this? The truth is, there isn't just one version of normal. For some women, a cycle is 28 days like clockwork. For others, it might be 24 days, or 35. Some have lighter flows that last 3 days, while others bleed for up to 7. And all of that can still fall within a healthy range. What matters most isn't comparing your cycle to someone else's, it's understanding your own pattern. A normal period for you is usually fairly consistent in timing, similar in flow from month to month, predictable in how your body feels. You might have mild cramps, a little fatigue, or mood changes, and that can be completely natural. But here's where it gets important. When something suddenly shifts, your timing, your flow, your pain, that's your body waving a little flag saying, hey, something's different. And that's when it's worth paying closer attention. When your flow may be sending a signal. Your flow, how much you bleed, how long it lasts, and what it looks like, can tell you more than you might think. A lot of women assume that a heavy period is just something they have to live with. But your body does have limits, and when those limits are crossed, it can be a sign that something deeper is going on. For example, if your period lasts longer than 7 days, or you're soaking through a pad or tampon every hour or two, that's not something to ignore. Passing large clots regularly or feeling exhausted and drained during your period can also be important clues. On the other side, very light periods, or ones that suddenly become much lighter than usual, can also signal changes in your hormones or ovulation patterns. It's not about labeling anything as good or bad. It's about noticing what's different for you. Your flow is like a monthly report. If it suddenly becomes heavier, lighter, longer, or more intense than what your body is used to, it's worth asking why. Because your body isn't being dramatic, it's being informative. When period pain is not something to brush off, cramps are often treated like they're just part of being a woman. You're expected to take a painkiller, curl up with a heating pad, and push through. But here's something important to hear. Pain is not something your body creates for no reason. Mild to moderate cramping can be completely normal. It's caused by your uterus contracting to shed its lining. You might feel discomfort, pressure, or a dull ache, and while it's not pleasant, it's usually manageable. But severe pain is different. If your cramps stop you from going to work, attending school, or living your normal life. If you feel nauseous, dizzy, or even faint, or if the pain seems to be getting worse over time, that's not something to ignore. Pain that intense can sometimes be linked to conditions like endometriosis or adenomyosis, both of which are often overlooked for years. You deserve better than just dealing with it. Your pain is valid, and more importantly, it's information. Listening to it doesn't make you weak. It helps you understand what your body might be trying to say. Irregular periods, stress, hormones, or something more. An irregular period can feel confusing, and sometimes even a little unsettling. Maybe your cycle suddenly skips a month, or it comes earlier than expected, or it feels completely unpredictable, like you can't rely on it anymore. And yes, sometimes there's a simple explanation. Stress, for example, can have a powerful effect on your cycle. Big life changes, emotional pressure, lack of sleep, or even intense exercise can all disrupt your hormones and delay ovulation. But if irregular periods become a pattern, your body may be pointing to something deeper. Conditions like polycystic ovary syndrome, often called PCOS, can cause cycles to become widely spaced or even disappear for months. Thyroid imbalances can also interfere with how your cycle is regulated. And then there are natural life stages, like puberty or perimenopause, where irregularity is more expected as hormones shift. The key is this: occasional changes happen, but ongoing unpredictability deserves attention, because your cycle is designed to have a rhythm, and when that rhythm starts to break, it's your body's way of saying something needs a closer look. The conditions your period can hint at. Sometimes, your period isn't just reflecting small changes, it's pointing toward an underlying condition that deserves real attention. And this is where many women feel dismissed or overlooked, because symptoms are often normalized for far too long. For example, consistently heavy bleeding can be linked to uterine fibroids, non-cancerous growths in the uterus that can increase flow and cause pressure or discomfort. Uterine polyps can also lead to irregular or heavier bleeding, especially between periods. Severe pain, especially when it gets worse over time, is often associated with endometriosis, a condition where tissue similar to the uterine lining grows outside the uterus. This can cause inflammation, scarring, and intense pain that goes far beyond typical cramps. Another condition, adenomyosis, happens when that same type of tissue grows into the muscle of the uterus, leading to heavy, painful periods and a feeling of pressure. Hormonal imbalances can also play a major role. When ovulation doesn't happen regularly, your body's hormone levels can shift in ways that affect both timing and flow. And in some cases, bleeding disorders can make periods unusually heavy from a young age. The important thing to remember is this: these conditions are more common than many people realize, and they are not something you just have to live with. Your period can be the first clue. Listening to it can be the first step toward real answers. The extra clues many women overlook. Your period doesn't speak in just one way. It's not only about bleeding or cramps. Your body often sends extra clues that are easy to overlook. Maybe you feel completely drained every month, like no amount of rest is enough. Or you notice persistent acne along your jawline that seems to flare up with your cycle. Changes in hair growth, unexpected weight shifts, or ongoing bloating can all be part of the picture too. Some women experience pain during sex, or discomfort when going to the bathroom during their period. Others notice spotting between cycles, dizziness, or even a sense that something just feels off. These symptoms might seem unrelated at first, easy to brush off, easy to explain away. But when they show up together, or keep repeating month after month, they can be meaningful. Your body doesn't separate everything into neat categories. It communicates in patterns. And when you start connecting those dots, your cycle, your energy, your skin, your pain, you begin to see a clearer picture of what your body may be trying to tell you. When to talk to a doctor. It can be hard to know when something crosses the line from normal to worth getting checked. A good rule of thumb? If your period is interfering with your daily life, it's time to speak up. That includes bleeding between periods, extremely heavy flow, cycles that disappear for months, or pain that stops you from doing normal activities. Feeling dizzy, faint, or completely wiped out during your period also matters. And here's something important: don't wait until it becomes unbearable. You don't need to prove that something is serious enough. If something feels off, that's already a valid reason to ask questions. Your experience deserves to be taken seriously, because the earlier you speak up, the sooner you can understand what's happening and start feeling like yourself again. How to start tracking what your body is saying. One of the simplest and most powerful things you can do is start paying attention. You don't need anything complicated. Just begin noticing your pattern. Track when your period starts and ends. Pay attention to how heavy your flow is, if you're passing clots, and how your pain feels each month. Notice your mood, your energy levels, your skin, even your sleep. Over time, these details start to form a story, and that story becomes incredibly helpful, especially if you ever need to talk to a doctor. Instead of guessing, you can clearly explain what's been happening in your body. You don't have to track perfectly, just consistently, because the more you notice, the more your body starts to make sense. Listen without panic. Your period is not your enemy. It's not something your body does to you. It's something your body does for you. Even when it feels frustrating, messy, or uncomfortable, it's still communication. And listening doesn't mean panicking. It simply means staying curious, paying attention, and trusting that your body is on your side. You don't need to have all the answers right now. Just start by noticing. Because the more you listen, the more your body will tell you.